Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Directors regular board meeting, regular session, September 3rd, 2:00. Welcome to everybody. Laura, may I have a roll call?
Sure. Director Arnold. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Director Gilbert.
Here.
Director Koenig.
Present.
Director McBride.
Present.
Alderwoman Saulnier.
Present.
Director Spencer.
Present.
Director Young. And Chair Hawes.
Present. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Next up, in your packet were the meeting, minutes of the meeting, July 17th, regular board meeting, and the August 4th, 2025 special board meeting. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Director Gilbert.
Aye.
Director Koenig.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Saulnier.
Aye.
Director Spencer.
Aye.
And Chair Hawes.
Aye. All right, next up, we have some resolutions for approval. I'd like to call Rob Orr up to discuss Resolution 25, SLDC 1034, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Resolution 25 SLDC 1034 authorizes the execution of an agreement between St. Louis Development Corporation and Kia Point Solutions, LLC, for project management services related to business and economic catalyzation recovery efforts in response to the May 16th tornado that devastated much of North St. Louis. The amount of the contract is not to exceed $1.1 million. As you all know, the tornado had a significant impact in the business community as well in North St. Louis. We estimate about 788 businesses were in the immediately defined tornado impact area. Based on surveys, over 400 businesses reported damage to their business or building, with 60 reporting a total loss. SLDC has been charged with leading the business and economic catalyzation recovery efforts as outlined by the city's recovery office. SLDC issued an RFP to obtain a project management consultant to support the disaster recovery and rebuilding efforts. We received 12 proposals in response to the RFP. An internal selection committee appointed by interim president and CEO Williams identified the top 4 firms, each of which was interviewed by that selection committee. After interviewing the 4 firms, the selection committee voted to recommend engaging Kia Point Solutions, whose principal worked for a consultant that served as a primary project manager for the city's efforts to retain the next NGA West here in the city of St. Louis. The principal, Mr. Russell Halliday, who is on the line and will be able to answer any of your questions, also served as a senior project manager for the recovery efforts following the Christchurch, New Zealand earthquake in 2011, leading the repair and rebuild efforts of more than 14,000 homes. Many of the firms had significant, or at least some, experience with responding to disasters. And we believe that Mr. Halliday and his firm provides the best opportunity to lead this work going forward. Kia's team includes PGAV planners and Lockmuller Group, who may be contracted for specific assignments related to the recovery efforts in this area. The base contract would be $936,000, which provides for the project management services, with an additional $134,000 to be available for ancillary services that may be required in fulfillment of the scope of work that we are seeking for this effort. So at this time, I would entertain any questions, and Mr. Halliday is also online to answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have this much funds left in the interest on?
We presently do. We also intend to seek reimbursement from FEMA for as much as we are eligible for. And I think James is maybe leading that effort for SLDC. I don't know if you have any comments on what that looks like.
Yeah, we have, SLDC has applied for FEMA reimbursement, we are still waiting for our time to be scheduled to have a recovery scoping meeting with FEMA. But costs that are incurred as necessary to respond to the effects of the storm are, we're going to argue, should be covered and reimbursed by the agency.
James, what is the date of the scoping of the meeting? Do you know?
No, I have followed up with FEMA. They tell me that it is still being processed. So I am keeping an eye on our grants portal for an update.
Okay, thank you.
And I
Some
know we
point
have
It
a,
would be nice to get a update on how much is left in that accrued interest account. We did that period, I think, once toward the beginning of the year. We could do that.
We will provide that at our next meeting, which is on the 18th. I think it'll be a good time to have an update then.
Thank you.
thank you, Madam Chairwoman, Mr. Orr. I also want to recognize that one of the directors had his hand up before me, but I just have a quick question that maybe you can answer, or the representative on the line from Kia, just for people that are listening and watching that might not be familiar with that RFP. Can you just give us an overview of what the scope of services or what type of services you think you'll be able to cover under this contract? It just says scope of services included in the RFP, and I know some people might not be familiar with the RFP, so I just wanted for people watching.
No, sure, absolutely. And in the summary report of the selection committee's recommendation to the special awards committee or substantial awards committee, we did include those scope of services. I'll just read through them. Starting with a research and review of successful practices that have been implemented in other disaster recovery and rebuilding efforts across the country and around the globe. Recommendations for short, medium, and long-term solutions to address the needs of the business community. Coordination with city departments and agencies, regional economic development organizations and stakeholder groups, state and federal assistance providers, community engagement coordination, coordination with city and neighborhood plans, budgeting and financing strategies for the selected solutions that we will implement to help the businesses recover, assistance with grant applications and management of grants as appropriate, presentations to various boards, public officials, and other key stakeholder groups on the progress that SLDC is making in those recovery efforts, program management of the various implementation solutions that may be determined to be in the best interest of the business community, and then the procurement and management of contractors and other consultants as may be needed who have specialty in areas of their expertise that may benefit the city in the recovery efforts. This individual will be reporting directly to our interim president and CEO, and those efforts will include assistance with other city initiatives, to include housing, in which he has a particular experience with the earthquake in New Zealand, where 14,000 homes had to be rebuilt or repaired. So those are the kinds of services that we will be seeking as part of this contract.
Thank you so much, and definitely want to avail myself for any support I can give on my end, not just from the 10th Ward, but from the development side as well for the city. I didn't know if the representative was on the call or not, but from
He
here.
is. He's in the upper right-hand corner.
Okay, all right. Want to make sure I
And
identify who
Alderwoman,
that
I
person
think
was.
that,
Okay, thank you. Please let me know how I can help support you in this work.
We definitely will.
I think Alderwoman McCarr covered, and I had a similar question, so I'll ask mine a little differently. If we could, after we've heard the scope of work, if Russell, if you could just share with us some examples as to how you would put that into practice in more lay terms, so especially since you've dealt with something similar to this in the Christchurch earthquake.
Thank you, Chairman McBride. I think, part of the interesting thing with recovery work for, a city or a town is the opportunity portion of the recovery. I mean, if you look at globally, I think earthquakes, tornadoes, and other disasters create a net benefit post recovery, and I think that's one of the keys. I think that I'd like to focus on and promoting a benefit across the community and in the broadest possible sense. This is very much a opportunity to get everyone to be able to be seen to be engaged in the process. And I think it actually, lifting everyone up in the community, particularly, and focused around those that are immediately affected. But this is a broader improvement to Northside, which I think we initiated with the NGA project. I've worked, with that NGA project. I worked extensively with pretty much every department within the city, and I think those working relationships. Key is to start with that level of respect that I think we gained initially on that NGA project and Project Connect.
So if I can, the focus at the very outset is to hit the ground running, but the idea is also have a well-planned attack going forward. But that includes interacting with all of the city departments, with all of the neighborhood groups and activist groups that are out there in the area, and to make sure we're working in a coordinated fashion. The goal for us is to be able to provide the tools that are needed to be able to redevelop. And that includes leveraging dollars that are available, or finding dollars that we can leverage.
Sir, and also Otis, you mentioned hit the ground running. Is there any kind of a time frame for deliverables? Maybe I missed it. And I know there's more than one deliverable, but when you talk about hit the ground running,
well, the first thing is to interact with the Office of Recovery, because we are an integral part of that. And so we're not a separate entity, but a part of that. And we have a separate function focused on both neighborhood and business. And so that's our goal. And so hitting the ground running is to really start the coordination right away, and have a synchronized approach between the overall Office of Recovery and what we can do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I do think
If I
Mr.
can-
Halliday is planning to be in St. Louis September 9th or 10th to begin that work.
Yeah, I certainly plan to be there next week. The other component that I should mention is that I did present a 100-day plan. So I think in terms of laying out some strategy, initial strategy, I think we have to be a little careful, because it does need to be socialized and adjusted. That's the only thing. So as draft, 100-day plan is in place.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question. It's a fairly large contract. Do you have and maybe you could explain what this team was going to look like, or are there several positions that you've already filled or plan to fill, and will there be a local office in St. Louis?
No, great question.
Isn't it a 2-year piece here, or is it?
Yeah, the contract is for up to 2 years. Mr. Halliday will be living in St. Louis, and he will be housed in the SLDC office.
Okay.
The only contract, the base contract, is for his services, and then any additional work is covered by the $134,000, I think, that could cover a special report on housing, or maybe an assignment related to a grant application, or something related to street infrastructure, where Lockmuller Group could, assist with that grant application to get federal funding potentially to repair some of the streets, sidewalks, and so on. And in addition, PGAV, of course, everyone knows them in St. Louis, is a great planning organization, and they would be on the team, and we would treat each additional supplemental work as an individual task order. So it would have a defined deliverable and a defined scope of work and delivery schedule, as well as a cost for providing that additional work.
Any other questions? Nope. I don't see any hands raised. All right. Thank you so much, Rob.
Okay.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve resolution number 25, SLDC 1034?
So move McBride.
Second.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Director Gilbert.
Abstain.
Director Koenig.
Aye.
Director McBride.
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia.
Aye.
Director Spencer.
Aye.
And Chair Halls.
Aye. Alrighty, resolution 25, SLDC 1035. Lorna Alexander, if you would please come up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Directors, Chair Halls, and Mr. Williams. Resolution 25 SLDC 1035 will authorize SLDC to execute grant agreements and disperse grant funds from the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program to successful operational expansion business applicants. For a little context on the grant for our new directors, SLDC received $37 million for the North City Grant Program. And the program had 4 components: capacity building, operational expansion, stabilization, and then the construction, community enhancement, and facade awards. This particular resolution today is a supplemental resolution. The original resolution was presented and approved in June of 2024. And as we vet businesses, we come back and ask for your approval for them to receive the awards and for SLDC to disperse the funds. So today I'm presenting 3 businesses: Styles Clothing, Infant Loss Resources, and House of Pays, who will all receive a $25,000 award at your approval for operational expansion efforts. And I'm open to any questions you may have.
Lorna, can you speak to the vetting process and the forms and things that you're using now to ensure full vetting and review?
Yes, for sure. So, in the past, the program received a lot of scrutiny because of our vetting processes and our partners who we entrusted to do the vetting. So right now, all of these businesses have been visited to ensure that they are operational, and they all, within the last 30 days, have passed CBI clearance, which is they have a current valid City of St. Louis business license, and they are current on their payroll and personal property taxes. Our other grants, once we present those for the construction, their vetting list by SLDC is a lot longer. There's a checklist, a due diligence list that we are preparing for each of those businesses. Just some background on them: September 9th, we held 2 workshops for those businesses. Those are the facade and community enhancement awards you approved since December. September 9th is their deadline to get all their documentation in that we will present to our legal department, who will then draw up their legal documents. And then the final step is to get approval from CDA for those businesses. So included in that list is 3 years of tax returns, their most current bank statements. They have to show us liability insurance, the contracts they have with a general contractor or for the smaller grants with the smaller contractors. SLDC is footing the bill for the smaller businesses to have title insurance. So we have a title company doing title searches so that we are ensured that the building that we're putting our funds in does belong to the business, or they are leasing that building. And then the building owner will enter into the beneficiary agreement along with the business. There is a 15-year, in most cases, restricted use allure on each of the buildings that we are putting our money in.
And do we know how many of those are out there? I mean, I keep hearing in the community that people are waiting for these bigger things to happen. Are you doing them as you receive them, or you're waiting till they all come in at once? Or
So it's been a long process, right? And the people responsible at SLDC for that process, a lot of them are no longer here, right? So the whole administration of this part of the grant was moved over to my department, compliance, because if anything else, they're going to be compliant, right? So with that, we held a workshop at the end of July, July 24th and 25th, 24th for the smaller businesses, the 25th for the larger ones, to talk about the road that led us here and to discuss what's needed to go forward. All the documentation, some of it, quite frankly, they heard for the first time. So we've given them a September 9th deadline to get the documentation in. I have 2 staff members dedicated to working with them to answering questions. I'm answering questions, providing guidance and information. So right now we have the original 45, I think you might remember. There are 32 still viable in the process that we're hoping to get to construction.
so you're doing, like, if you got one and everything's there, are you moving it along, or are you? just
So we
waiting?
haven't any, everything is there. So
Okay.
we seem to be close. But yes,
and-
no, we're not waiting to move the whole stack. If the first one in will be the first one to go over to legal.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for the additional compliance and scrutiny. It's much appreciated. I have a question. You mentioned title insurance, and that makes a ton of sense, but these look like they're operational grants. So I'm just curious why title insurance?
So I move forward to our next bigger set.
Got it.
For the
Okay.
operational expansion grants, that is not required.
Okay, thank you.
Nor for the next resolutions, those are stabilization grants, not required. We're
Okay.
talking about I went to the bigger, larger ones.
So it's a construction, those kinds of things. No security interest though. SLDC, does SLDC take a security interest? Will they be, or will they be outright grants?
So they are grants, but there will be a deed of trust put on the property for the amount of the grant funds
To ensure,
to ensure that the business stays operational and then they cannot sell the property without our approval.
okay. Thank you very much.
Director Koenig has a question.
Yes, thank you. I truly appreciate that this is under the umbrella of compliance and that you have this vetting process. How do you go about ensuring there is no relationship conflict of interest within the organization when it comes to the vetting? I mean, it's very clear where you have, you've visited the site and, you've done all that kind of vetting, but as far as if there's any relationships or anything within any of these companies that might present a conflict of interest?
So in 2 forms. So initially, all the applicants had to complete check boxes and to attest to that they are not related to immediate family of any members of employees of SLDC. As it goes further out, when we talk about members of the Board of Aldermen, then we got conflict of interest opinions, legal opinions from our staff attorney to attest to that.
Okay.
So they have to check that, attest to that. And then in each of the grant agreements, there's a conflict of interest where they're stating to us. So it's all under law, that they're
Okay.
saying there's no conflict here. But when we do get wind of something or we're made aware of
Yes.
something, we do investigate it.
Okay, and then because of all that you've put in place, then we're protected if there's any kind of violation of those attestments.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, I say yes. James would know better than I.
We have some measures of defense as part of the attestations on the application and in the grant documents. the applicants are made aware of the False Claims Act that makes it a crime to provide false information to a government entity to gain a benefit. So we are hoping that that potential stick is enough to keep folks on the level and at least disclose if there is a conflict, plus the additional investigation that SLDC does when there is a when we do get wind of a potential conflict of interest.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I would appreciate a resolution to approve, a motion to approve resolution 25 SLDC 1035.
So move.
Second.
Second, McBride.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
I recuse myself.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Koenig,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia,
Aye.
Director Spencer,
Aye.
and Chair Halls.
Aye. Okay. Lorna, thank you for standing. If you would, please move on to resolution 25 SLDC 1036. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So Resolution 25 SLDC 1036 will authorize SLDC to execute grant agreements and disperse grant funds from the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program to eligible businesses and nonprofits for business stabilization efforts. So for this resolution, we have one business that was vetted recently and qualified, Kings and Queens Baskets and More. They will receive a $15,000 grant for stabilization efforts. And those efforts can include salaries, rent, supplies, materials, utilities, things of that nature. The recipients of the grant, part of their grant agreement is they complete a budget of eligible expenses for SLDC to review and approve for what they're going to use the grant funds on.
Any questions? So Lorna, I have a question. This is Kings and Queens baskets?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. What does it mean when on the file it says redacted application file name? What is
Good,
that?
great question. So this form is from our transparency portal.
Okay,
And so on the portal for each of the businesses, there is a redacted application that they submitted. The applications were reviewed by our legal department, which said you can include this information in the redacted material, this you got to keep private. And so for Kings and Queens, since they were just recently vetted, their redacted application will be created and put on the portal as well.
thank you very much. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Lorna.
Thank you.
May I have a motion, please, to approve resolution 25 SLDC 1036?
So move.
Second, McBride.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
I recuse myself.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Koenig,
Aye.
Director McBride,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sonia,
Aye.
Director Spencer,
Aye.
and Chair Halls.
Aye. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to move to executive session pursuant to section 610-0211, subsection 1, subsection 2, and subsection 12.
I don't think we have anything for closed session.
Sorry, that was included on the agenda as a tentative. We don't actually have anything for closed session
Okay.
today.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, thank you. All right, then, at this time, I would please ask our interim president and executive director to provide his report.
Okay, thank you all very much. This has been a full throttle month in the sense that a lot has gone on. And I want to thank our staff for all of the diligent work they have done to make it all the things that we have accomplished happen. One of the things that we have been doing is continuing to prosecute and do things related to the Economic Justice Action Plan. And in the course of that, we have met with a lot of different organizations, and most recently, we hosted, with the help of the folks from the Community Builders Network and other organizations within the community, Community Development Corporation's event here in this room, actually, where the mayor came and spoke. And it was a discussion that we really need to follow up on. And our goal here is to ensure that we are supportive of community development corporations throughout the city. And it to be an initiative that we take to the Board of Aldermen to ensure that we can fund that on a regular basis so that these CDCs can count on that kind of funding. So it's a future discussion. There's no commitment on dollars, but it is a future discussion that we should have and talk about how we structure that funding going forward. One of the other things that we looked at was working with different organizations like Stiefel and PGAV, looking at funding, how to leverage public and private funding together to ensure that we can develop a stream that can support a number of activities within the community, and using some of the funds that have been identified to be sure that we can focus on new initiatives and maintenance of those that will help in our communities. There's an ongoing discussion about the use of incentives or the need for incentives. We will continue to flesh that out, and we will be briefing and having discussions with the Board of Aldermen as they come back in the session about some of those initiatives. What I want to do is I'm going to ask Dion if he can to give a quick update on some of the projects that we are working as it relates to the EJAP.
Good afternoon, everybody. You can hear me pretty well. The Economic Justice Action Plan, it's on our website. You guys receive this, I think, every board meeting. I'm going to hit on some of the important updates that we've seen in the last couple of months. One, I think that we highlight a lot is the Northside Economic Empowerment Center. And you guys know that it was housed in Sumner, but the tornado happened on May 16th. And we've moved to the William Harrison Center at St. Louis Community College on Cass Avenue. That's where FEMA was. I believe the SBA is still housed in that building, but we've been directing small businesses, nonprofits. If you need to receive some of those services, you can go to that. Scale Up STL is another program in the Economic Justice Action Plan. We're partnering with the St. Louis Community Credit Union on this. The goal of this was to invest ARPA money to attract private investors to provide affordable and accessible capital for about 25 small businesses and nonprofits. To date, we received 160 surveys from small businesses and nonprofits. And we just put out a communication to these applicants that we need to get business assessments from them. So that is moving forward, and we hope to provide more on that coming up. The Northside Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program, you guys just heard about the update with that. The Digital Equity Fund, as you all might recall, we put in Wi-Fi into community parks around the city of St. Louis. And most recently, we launched digital literacy classes at several recreational sites around St. Louis. A lot of that communication is on our social media. So that's another good progress we've been seeing with the Economic Justice Action Plan. I believe back in May, if I'm not mistaken, or April, we renewed the Downtown Retail Incentives Program. That's been something we've been really highlighting because we've been seeing good responses from downtown business communities when it comes to that. I believe last year we allocated with the help of Greater St. Louis Inc. about $350,000. This year, we're doing $400,000. 100,000 of that has been allocated by SLDC. So that's something we hope to see continue revitalize downtown. The Monarch, that's been something we've been focusing on a lot for the last couple of years. We were hoping to get the first phase of that building outfitted this year, but we know with the tornado, it has slowed things down. So we're looking at next year. I think it's probably accurate to say that we can see some movement with the Monarch. We've been using that site to help with tornado recovery, store items, et cetera, things of that nature. Let's see. The LRA demolition program has been something that we've received media attention for. We've had a list of LRA-owned properties that have been really dilapidated, and we've had state funding, which is also which came from ARPA funding, to help tear down some of these buildings. We know with the May 16th tornado, some of those buildings have been moved up that list, and the LRA team has been very diligent with getting those structures torn down. And the last important update to mention is the LRA Commercial Stabilization Fund. We know we have historic sites in the St. Louis area, such as the Sarah Lou Cafe and Chuck Berry House, Wellston Loop, and Club Imperial. And to date, we're making great progress on the Sarah Lou Cafe and Chuck Berry. We expect those stabilization projects to be completed by the end of the year, and we're still making progress right now on Wellston Loop and Club Imperial. I think I hit most of the important ones, Otis.
Yes.
We have a lot more, obviously, but those are the ones that we've seen the most progress for in the last couple of months.
Okay, thank you. Update on the Executive Recruiting Service RFP. We in fact did receive a number of submittals for that, and the subcommittee has in fact met and have reviewed those, and we're creating a short list for future interview opportunities, and that's coming up. On the M and WBE program, that one is continuing to move. As you know, in early August, the first week of August, the program was paused for any new contracts to be issued as well as the certification. We then hired a consultant, Griffin and Strong, to be an advisor. They're a legal team out of Atlanta with tons of experience in this area and highly recognized around the nation. And they have been advising the city and the SLDC team as well on a path forward. We have been looking at working with delivering an executive order to get the program restarted and to follow on with the legal team supporting the Board of Aldermen and the staff with generating a new ordinance that will take advantage of the just recently completed disparity study. I said recently completed in the sense of 2024. Okay. We met with St. Louis Public Schools with both the real estate committee and then the full board. And Zach Wilson was with me as we had a discussion with them about incentives and the need for their review based on ordinance passed by the Board of Aldermen. So our goal was to have them have a full understanding of the incentive process, the scorecard, and understanding all of the incentive tools that are available through us and those that will come through the state and other agencies as well. I think it was a good meeting and a good outcome, and we'll see as we go down the road here. We have resumed the LRA sales process, and the September LRA board meeting will be the first board meeting back where they will consider sales. And we're continuing to work with our partners in downtown to, as I think someone mentioned here, are some of the things that we're doing downtown, but the idea is to understand how we can facilitate the revitalization of downtown. That does not negate all of the attention that we are hopeful paying to the various neighborhoods because they're equally important. And just wanted to highlight the special effort, though, that we have generated downtown. That is all I have as far as the report, and open to any questions or comments.
Just one question on the Scale Up program. How much money is still available for that one? That one doesn't get a lot of attention, but with high interest rates and being able to reduce them for small businesses, it is a awesome program. I just don't know, what's left in that funding.
Good question and a good time. So on the scale up, as you know, on our SLDC portal, we had a survey for businesses that were interested in the program. About a month or two ago, the total businesses completing surveys was about 160. At that time, we paused receiving any more surveys until we could look at these businesses in more detail. Otis and I met with St. Louis Community Credit Union. We talked about their responsibilities, our responsibilities, and the responsibility of the consultant that was going to be the go-between the two of us. So just yesterday, I believe, if it didn't happen on Friday, those 160 businesses received the communication from SLDC. Attached to it was a more detailed survey and assessment on where they were. And from that assessment, we'll be able to tell two things on the SLDC side: their grant eligibility, because there are only certain activities that are eligible with the grant funds, and depending on whether you're in a QCT or not, they might become more limited than that. And then the consultant, Kevin Wilson, will review them for credit eligibility. And once they pass both of those tests, they will then go to the credit union for further consideration. So right now, none of the grant funds, the 2.375 million, have been expended. And when they are expended, if the loans are going to mature after December 2026, our grant funds can only be used for the loss of interest, where we're going to drop the interest rate from the 8% from the credit union down to 4 or 5%.
That's incredible.
So we're just really getting going, and we're excited about that.
Thank you.
Which brings to mind a quick update on the loan program that has been administered through LDC. In that program, we have had, this is the $5,000 grant program with no interest. That is 92 applicants for that program to date, and we are having discussions about extending that program to September 30th.
I had a question, but it might be something just to put on the radar for a future meeting. But I received some correspondence from the Building Trade Coalition about some projects. I think 1014 Spruce Street was one of them. One was the rail project, but they had some questions about, there have been some previous conversation regarding some of the workers kind of being underpaid, and wanted to make sure that the abatement was not activated prior to that being visited. So I told them that I would uplift it on the record and that we might need to have, more conversation about it, talk about it in the future. But I just know some of the unions reached out about concerns, wanting to make sure that those workers were paid and compensated before the abatement for those projects. I think the rail, Vandy East, and 1014 Spruce Street specifically was activated.
Okay, we'll talk to you directly, so I make sure I get the exact address again, okay? But we will.
Any questions? Any further questions? Thank you very much, Otis. So if there's nothing further, I'd like to announce our next regular board meeting is scheduled September 18th, 2025. And that is it. Meeting is adjourned. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, everyone.